They say the holidays can turn a house into a battlefield. I guess I should have believed them. Veronica's hands were ice cold when she shoved me against the fridge, knocking the air right out of my lungs. I couldn't even gasp, just felt the slam of metal against my back and the sting of tears threatening to spill. The roast turkey was still steaming on the table. Carols played softly from the radio. And here I was, tasting blood on Christmas Day. People know me as Camille, the quiet one, the peacemaker, the girl who never fights back. But I'm not that girl anymore. My fingers shook as I reached for the phone on the counter, desperate to call for help, to call anyone. But Mom's hand snapped out of nowhere, snatching it right from under me. "It's nothing," she bit out, her voice like a slap. My eyes darted to Dad, searching for the smallest flicker of help. But he just sighed, didn't even look at me, and muttered, "Always so dramatic." That's the moment something inside me cracked. I glanced across the table, a dozen cousins pretending they didn't see, shoveling mashed potatoes in their mouths, their eyes locked on the gravy like it was the most fascinating thing in the world. And then I caught Lily's face, my niece, barely 11, staring at me with tears in her huge brown eyes, horror frozen on her lips. That was the final straw. Veronica wiped her hands on a napkin, calm as ever, and shot me a smile so vicious it could curdle milk. "You'll keep your mouth shut," she hissed under her breath, "or I swear." I didn't even hear the rest, because something inside me finally roared awake. They thought I would stay quiet, that I'd take the blame, that I'd keep sweeping their violence under the rug to keep the family image spotless. But they were wrong. This was the Christmas they'd remember for the rest of their lives, and for all the wrong reasons. And that's when I heard him whisper my name from behind the door. A voice I hadn't heard in years sliced through the thick, silent tension. My brother, Ethan, stood in the doorway holding a stack of fresh plates, frozen mid-step. He'd flown in from Chicago, barely made it in time for dinner, and apparently walked straight into hell. His eyes locked onto Veronica, then drifted to me, noticing the tears streaking my cheeks and the way my shoulders were still pressed against the fridge like a rag doll. "What the hell did I just see?" he demanded, his voice sharper than I'd ever heard it. Veronica rolled her eyes, crossing her arms with a dramatic sigh. "Oh, don't start, Ethan." She was being difficult. She always is. Mom bristled, straightening her Christmas sweater like a queen fixing her robe. "Sit down, Ethan. Let's not ruin the meal." He slammed the plates down on the counter, glass clattering. "Mom, she's crying." Veronica shoved her. In front of everyone. Dad sighed again, heavy and bored. "It's family, son. You know how sisters fight." "Fight?" I barked out a painful laugh. "Dad." She nearly knocked the breath out of me. "That's not a fight." Veronica scoffed. "You're so fragile, Camille." It was barely a push. Ethan stepped closer, seeing through her like glass. "Camille," he said softer now. "Did she hurt you?" My throat went tight. I could feel everyone's eyes drilling into me, willing me to lie, to keep the holiday neat, to protect their precious reputation. I swallowed hard. "Yeah," I finally choked out. "She did." A hush fell so deep you could hear the radio singer crooning Silent Night like a cruel joke. Veronica stood up, napkin in hand, trying to reclaim her dignity. "Oh, don't play the victim. You're acting like I tried to kill you." My hands curled into fists. "You'll wish I was only acting," I whispered. Ethan shot me a glance, half worried, half proud, like he'd waited years to see me finally stand up. I took one more look around that table, seeing their fake smiles, their cowardly, downcast eyes. Enough. I was going to tear this entire lie apart, no matter how many Christmas ornaments shattered with it. And that's when I heard him whisper my name from behind the door. The voice was Dad's this time, resigned, heavy, like he'd just remembered he was supposed to play patriarch. He pushed back from his chair, the legs screeching against the hardwood floor. The turkey knife still gleamed in front of him, untouched. He rubbed a hand over his weathered face, barely meeting my eyes. "Enough," he said, flat as dead air. "This family is sick of your drama, Camille." My breath caught in my throat. Drama? That was his word for me being shoved so hard I could hardly breathe. Ethan slammed his fist on the table, making the silverware jump. Her drama? Dad. Veronica shoved her like she wanted to break her ribs. Veronica threw her hands in the air. It was an accident. I stepped forward, the bruising in my side pulsing with every heartbeat. If it was an accident, why did you smirk while you did it? Veronica turned red, stammering, but Mom cut in before she could answer. Camille, you need to calm down before you embarrass us in front of the entire family, she snapped, her voice as icy as the peppermint bark on the table. I let out a broken laugh, tears brimming again. I'm the embarrassment? You all watched her do it. A pin could have dropped in that suffocating silence. Dad tried again, voice dangerously low. You'll sit down and finish this meal, or you can leave my house. Something inside me, the same something I'd crushed for years to keep them happy, finally snapped. I'm not leaving alone, I said, fire rising in my chest. I'm taking Lily. She's not growing up thinking this is love. Veronica lunged to her feet. You'll take my daughter over my dead body. I stared straight at her, unflinching. Try me. Ethan moved closer to my side, his body like a shield. You're not going to touch Camille again, he told Veronica, steel in his voice. Dad let out a groan, massaging his temples. Great. Just great. Merry damn Christmas, he muttered. I turned to Lily, whose small hands trembled on the back of her chair. Go get your coat, honey, I told her, voice gentle. We're leaving. She blinked, then nodded, hope flickering in her big brown eyes. And that's when I heard him whisper my name from behind the door. This time it was Lily's voice, tiny, shaky, but clear. She stood near the hallway with her pink winter coat half-zipped, her face pale and eyes wide. Do we really have to go? She asked, her lip trembling. My chest ached so badly it felt like my ribs might snap. Yes, sweetheart. I breathed, trying to keep my voice calm. We really do. Veronica shot forward like a snake, grabbing Lily's wrist. She is my daughter, Camille. You don't get to decide where she goes. Lily winced, tears leaking out, frozen in fear. I stepped forward, fury ripping through every cell in my body. Let her go. I growled, every word vibrating with a power I hadn't felt in years. Veronica's fingers tightened, nails digging into Lily's skin. You think you can walk out of this family and take my child with you? Ethan moved so fast he nearly knocked over a chair. Get your hands off her, Veronica, he barked. Mom stood, blocking the kitchen doorway like a guard dog. No one is going anywhere until we settle this, she snapped, her voice quivering with rage. I stepped forward, shaking, but unafraid. Settle what? That you all let this happen? That you'd rather cover it up than face who she is? Dad slammed his fist on the table again. Enough. Nobody leaves. My head was spinning, but Lily's terrified face anchored me to what mattered. Lily deserves better. I told them all. If you won't protect her, I will. Veronica hissed. You're kidnapping her. I laughed, bitter and raw. From what? Your love. Jason, quiet, reasonable Jason, stood suddenly, face carved from stone. I'll help you get them out, Camille, he said. I've seen enough. Veronica's jaw dropped. Jason, you? You'd betray your own sister? He looked at Lily, then at me, then back at Veronica. No, he said calmly. I'm protecting them from you. The tension split the room apart, every guest frozen, not daring to breathe. Lily reached for my hand, whispering, Mama, please can we go now? My heart cracked wide open. Yeah, baby, I said softly, we're going. And that's when I heard him whisper my name from behind the door. It was Grandpa's voice this time, gravelly, tired, but carrying a weight that hushed the entire room. He'd been silent for most of the night, half slumped in his chair, as if too old and too worn to get involved. But now he stood, leaning on his cane, eyes locked on me with a steadiness that made my breath catch. Don't leave yet, he said, firm despite the tremor in his hands. I swallowed hard, my pulse rattling in my throat. Grandpa, I have to. I tried to explain. They won't change. He shook his head slowly. I know, he rasped, but listen to me first. Veronica scoffed, still clinging to Lily's sleeve like a lifeline. Dad, don't start with your guilt trips. Camille is hysterical. Grandpa ignored her completely, shifting his gaze to Lily, whose cheeks were wet with tears. You're a brave little one, he told her, voice cracking. I'm sorry you had to see this. Lily nodded, a small, broken sound coming out of her mouth. Then Grandpa turned to me, eyes shining. You have a right to leave, he said. I should have stood up for you years ago. I failed you, Camille. I let them do this to you. My throat burned, too choked up to speak. Mom scoffed from behind him. Oh, Harold, don't go playing the hero now. Camille is overreacting as always. Grandpa whirled on her with a fury I'd never seen in him. Linda, enough. You have made this family rot from the inside. You watched one daughter break the other and called it normal. Mom blanched, her mouth opening, but no words came out. I felt Lily squeeze my fingers, grounding me. Grandpa nodded, breathing hard. Take her, he said. Take Lily. I will back you. I should have done it years ago. My eyes stung so badly, I could hardly see him. Grandpa, thank you, I whispered. He gave me a sad, broken smile. Don't thank me. Just get that child somewhere safe. Jason stepped up beside me, steady. We're going with you, he said. You shouldn't do this alone. Veronica screamed. You're all insane. Grandpa's voice rumbled again, so cold it froze every protest. No, Veronica. We're finally sane. I grabbed Lily's coat, zipped it tight, my hands still shaking but unafraid. And that's when I heard him whisper my name from behind the door. It was Jason's voice this time, calm but urgent, as he stepped closer and gently pulled me away from Veronica's poisonous orbit. His jaw was clenched, knuckles white from how hard he'd been gripping the back of Lily's chair. Let's go, he said, his tone leaving no room for argument. You can't stand here forever. I nodded, chest heaving, my hands still shaking as I held Lily's coat. Veronica lurched forward, trying to grab Lily again, but Jason blocked her like a wall. Don't you even think about touching them, he growled, surprising everyone. Veronica recoiled, eyes wide, her voice shrill. You would really turn your back on your own blood? Jason's gaze burned cold. I'm not turning my back on family. I'm saving it. Lily pressed into my side, tears still dripping off her chin. Mama, are we gonna have to come back here? I crouched down, brushing her hair behind her ear. No, baby. I promised, my voice fierce. Never again. Mom threw her napkin down with a violent flick. You're going to destroy Christmas. Do you realize that, Camille? I spun on her, all the years of bruised memories pouring through me like acid. Christmas was already destroyed the second you decided to protect her instead of me. The silence was thick, almost unbearable. I saw cousins lower their eyes, pretending to check their phones, anything to escape the truth spreading through the dining room like wildfire. Dad pushed back his chair again, face gray with exhaustion. I can't watch this, he muttered. I shot him a look so cold it could break glass. Then don't. Jason slipped his keys into my hand, nodding toward the door. Go. I'll follow in my own car. Get Lily safe. Veronica's face twisted into something cruel, something so small I almost pitied her. If you leave now, Camille, you are dead to me. I stood tall, no fear left in my bones. Then consider me buried. I guided Lily past the dining table, ignoring the hushed whispers and the clink of a glass tipping over somewhere behind me. The air outside was sharp, so cold it stole my breath, but it felt cleaner, like freedom. I glanced back once, just to burn the moment into my mind. And that's when I heard him whisper my name from behind the door. It was Ethan's voice again, calling after me just as I stepped across the threshold into the freezing December night. I turned, gripping Lily's small hand like an anchor. He jogged toward us, his own coat half on, breath fogging in the icy air. Wait, he said, catching up, his eyes softer than I'd seen them in years. What? I asked, heart pounding like a war drum. He paused, searching my face. I'm proud of you, he blurted out. for finally standing up to them. Something in me wanted to collapse, hearing those words, but I held firm. Thank you, I managed, voice rough. He nodded, glancing back toward the house where the Christmas lights still burned, a twisted parody of peace. I'll come by tomorrow, he promised. Help you figure out your next steps. You're not alone. I swallowed hard. I don't even know where we'll sleep tonight. Jason stepped out behind us, keys jangling in his hand. I told you, my rental is empty. You can stay as long as you need. Lily's face brightened, just a little. We have a place, Mama? I knelt and hugged her so tight, I felt her heart beating against mine. Yes, baby. We have a place. Inside, I heard Mom's voice still screeching, high and panicked. They're leaving. Camille, don't you dare walk out that door. I stood tall, turning to face her one last time. You have no more power over me, I told her, calm as a frozen river. You never did. You just made me think you did. She went pale, mouth opening and closing like a fish gasping on dry land. Jason gently guided me down the icy steps, and Ethan hovered protectively at my side. I had never felt so free. Terrified, but free. Ready? Jason asked, unlocking his car. I nodded, my resolve hardening like steel. Ready. As I settled Lily into the passenger seat, her cheeks pink from the cold, she looked at me with something I hadn't seen in a long time. Trust. Mama, she whispered. Are we safe now? I brushed her hair back, tears blurring my vision. Yeah, I said, steady. We're safe now. The air was sharp, filled with the sound of brittle leaves scraping across the driveway. And that's when I heard him whisper my name from behind the door. It was Grandpa again, calling from the porch, his voice carried by the night wind. I turned back, Lily safe in Jason's car, and saw him standing in the glow of the Christmas lights, cane shaking slightly, but his eyes clear as glass. Come here, he rasped. I stepped closer, heart pounding, afraid he might try to talk me out of leaving, but he surprised me. Grandpa took my hands in his, gripping them with surprising strength. You did the right thing, he said, voice thick. It took me 80 years to understand that sometimes you have to walk away from your own blood to save your own soul. I swallowed hard, tears welling. Thank you, I whispered, because it was all I had left. His gaze shifted to Lily through the car window. That girl deserves to grow up with peace, he murmured. Don't let anyone ever tell her she's less than enough. My voice broke. I won't. He nodded, eyes shining. Go. And don't look back. Behind him, I could see Mom in the doorway, rage twisting her face, Veronica pacing behind her, seething like a trapped animal. The house that raised me had never looked smaller. I took a breath, letting the cold fill my lungs like a baptism, and stepped off the porch. Jason gave me a small smile as I climbed into the passenger seat. You okay? He asked gently. I nodded, finally steady.
Yeah.
I think I am. Ethan leaned through the window, squeezing my hand one last time. Call me if you need anything, he insisted. I will, I promised. Then Jason pulled away from the curb, tires crunching on the frost, carrying us forward into something that felt so new it made my chest ache. Lily leaned into me, eyes fluttering closed. Merry Christmas, Mama, she whispered, half asleep. I kissed her forehead, a smile breaking through every scar. Merry Christmas, baby, I breathed, voice fierce and free. The night was silent except for the hum of the engine and the faint sound of carols from some distant window. And as the house shrank behind us, I felt my chains fall away for good. And that's when I heard him whisper my name from behind the door.